What is going on, UMB Alert members? Matt here again for another alert recap video. It is Thursday, 10/16. For all of you that might be new here, what we're doing again is putting out some content that we are referring to as alert recap videos. What these videos are, very quickly, is a recap of the alerts that our proprietary system today pushed out to our alert members. And the point of these videos is so that we can break down just some of these alerts, not all of them, just a few, so that we can show the alert members where the alert actually came through on the chart, and how to break down their own chart and where a good potential entry would have been, or what that actual alert did. So again, we are here, guys, to help you succeed by using these alerts, but not just the alerts. We are here to try and help teach you to trade, and that is our entire goal. We want to see everybody be able to make money and lose as little as possible. So again, if you're new here and you do not currently receive the alerts, and you would like to, please get in the comments and let us know. We will be more than happy to get you that information. But first and foremost, we want to make sure that you guys understand how to use these alerts. So we will hop right into it here. On the left-hand side of my screen, you can see we have the alert system interface that comes through in the Telegram group. And it started out this morning pretty early, right out of the gate at 4:03 a.m. So we'll hop into the first couple here. I might scroll through some. As I always say, and I'll repeat later in the video, if there's any alerts that I do not get to that somebody is looking for specifically, that maybe they traded and didn't go so well, or it went okay, but they wish they were able to figure out where to properly scale out, any other questions like that, I am happy to break down an alert that I don't have a chance to get here to in this video. So with that said, 4:03 in the morning, we had, let's see here, we had RYOJ. So, of course, that came through, right? Many times, guys, the runners that we see in after hours, which we did last night or yesterday evening, RYOJ was awesome, right? It was a great one. So that was a runner from yesterday, and many times right away at 4 o'clock in the morning we get an initial burst, and then it can kind of pull back from there, which is exactly what this one did. So looking at the chart here, we have the alert came through, I think, on this candle here. It was 4:03 in the morning at a price of $8.48, which was, right about here somewhere. So as that alert came through and we first saw this spike in the morning, we sent the alert out, hoping that maybe it would get some more legs. What did it do, right? It opened up. When you got that alert, this is the chart that you would have seen. It didn't really provide any kind of pullback from here, so it would have been difficult for anybody really, or for myself for sure, to justify an entry right out of the gate. I'd really need to see some kind of pullback to support, which is what we actually ended up getting here. So this thing climbed up a little higher. If you did just grab it right away, you would have rode that up to about $9. And then we did get that pullback down into our EMAs kind of through VWAP. And look where it actually decided to sit, right? We had a tail that came down right to this support line here, right? This guy here. So we would have marked that as potential support because that's really all we have for the morning. And then we got this pullback here, and this tail came right down and sat right on top. So I actually did not take this trade. And the only reason is because it was a runner from the previous evening. And when that happens, you got to be careful with these. Like if you hold an overnight position in hopes of a pop in the morning, that's one thing. We have a couple of analysts that love doing those plays, and they work really well, and there's strategies around them as well, which we can get into another video. But if it's an initial pop off of something that ran the evening before, in my opinion, with what I've seen over a long course of time here, you get that initial pop and then you kind of go right into a pullback, and that kind of might be it for a while, if not for the rest of the day. So I did not take a position here, even though we came down to my support zone. Although you could have, if you were looking at this, and it would have been fine. You took a starter position, it popped back up, and it kind of just did one of these, right? You were in the green a little bit, and then it came down, and I would have cut right under support here, right? So, if you did take a position, maybe you cut for a small loss. It did dip a little lower. The rest of the day, it stayed way under VWAP, didn't have much action, and then I believe. We got some spikes later there in the day, and then we got a little climb up over VWAP in here, which could have been a play, especially, guys, if you're familiar with the 5-8-13 EMA strategy break like I always talk about. If you're not, please go find that video and watch that strategy, or watch the video and learn that strategy, rather. That would have been an awesome play in here coming up under VWAP. You could have got a nice move from like 390 to, a dollar move to 490. That would have been an awesome play. So again, this thing provided some scalping opportunities through the day, but it really wasn't, it really didn't do much else. So that was RYOJ alert. We'll go into LGCB. So that alert came through at 425 at $4.75. So let's look at that guy. LGCB. All right. It came through as a warming up alert. So let's see. For LGCB 425. So that was like, so this thing popped up. We got a little pullback. It popped up again. Unfortunately, we kind of missed this move here. We did get the alert out when it started to make this pullback here. So what did we get on this, right? So you would have pulled up this chart, and everything to the right of my cursor over here you wouldn't have seen. So right away you got a few decent lines that you need to make sure you're marking, right? Starting from the bottom, this kind of would have been that first initial resistance and support. You would have probably marked another one like in here somewhere, and that's marking, this wick and that one. And I mean, really, the bottom of this wick here is kind of important, but it was really a VWAP bounce. So I probably wouldn't have marked that. And I would have marked this high here, right? So again, what I always do is the lines above my price action are going to be red. That's going to tell me, hey, watch out. This is the resistance, right? The lines below are going to be green. And you may not always have time to sit here and color your lines and all that jazz when you're trying to trade. But for the most part, I try to get that done so that as they're coming up in the chart, I know what I'm looking at. So as we came into our pullback, this was the play here, right, guys? Like, it was coming down. You knew exactly what you were looking for. Not only did we have a support line here, but we also had VWAP. So it was a super strong zone. Like, that would have been a really good spot to pick up some, at least a starter position here, right? We're coming down. We're not just relying on a previous resistance as support, but we also have VWAP. So, and that's exactly what it did. It came down, basically rested on our resistance, broke it a little bit, sat on VWAP, and spiked back up. So whether you took this trade 402 and got out at like 460 or whatever, 450 up here, that's fine. That would have been a little scalp. My target would have been obviously this high to come up like this. Well, it didn't do that. It kind of just danced around. You were still in the green pretty much this whole way, except for this little dip here. So if you cut here because you were slightly red, that could have been a possibility. But then you probably, as soon as we bounced back up and got above VWAP, that would have been a VWAP reclaim, essentially, and you could have bought back in, right? Or at least when it came back down here to retest VWAP, and then bam, you got that next move. So this thing was just full of scalp opportunities pretty much for a while, more or less all day. We came up, we basically had a little almost VWAP test, a little scalp, right? Same thing here, bam, right, all the way up here. So this was really one of those plays that we were looking for a clear break of this high to really get another strong leg up. Well, we got it here and on this leg here. So as we came up and we broke, if you weren't in this chop here, which I was not, we got our break, and look what happened. We got a perfect retest, right? We got the break, we got the candle with a retest right here, right down on the support line. You guys always know, I always tell you, like, if you're going for a break play where price action breaks through a previous high, you're not chasing that green candle all the way to the moon. That would just be asking to lose money. What you're doing is waiting for a candle to stop climbing and come back and retest your support line and say, yes, we're going to hold this line and keep going. So that retest is really your entry. It should really be your entry. So, but anyway, you could have taken that in here. You could have taken it in here when it got back down. And then rode this next little leg up a little bit, kind of choppy through here, right? We didn't get huge legs up, but I mean, all in all, we had a pretty good move out of this from the alert. I think we were looking at something like the alert came through at $4.24 or $4.75, and we hit a high of $5.85. So. Not a bad move by any stretch. If we put our price measuring tool on that, let's just see what we get here. Maybe like 10%, 22%. So a 22% move between the alert and the high of day. Really not bad at all. Again, though, you guys know when I show you those percentages, it's unlikely that you would have rode that thing through all this chop just because of the way that we teach you to trade and what you're looking for. If something fails to hold support, then you're out. You cut your loss, right? The idea with this game is cut your loss very small or as small as possible when the price action and when the candlestick analysis tells you to do so, which is what we teach, and then find a better entry, right? That is hands down the absolute best way to trade and the only way that you're going to see consistent profits. So if you have any questions around that piece of advice there, please reach out and ask me. I'm happy to go into more detail there. So that was LGCB. The rest of the day, it kind of just did its thing. It was falling off for the most part. But I'm sure, again, with the 5-8-13 strategy, you probably could have found multiple setups in there to play. Let's just keep going here. We'll just kind of pick a couple other ones for purposes of the video. Let's look at VIVK, 0.54. Let's see. VIVK came through at 7:16 this morning. Let's see. 7:16 was right in here. It was right in this dip here. This little doji candle. So that alert came through at 0.54, and it was actually a pretty sweet spot because not that you had much time to get in a trade, but you were basically taking this ride right here from like basically 10 cents, right? But, when you say it that way, it doesn't sound like much, but when you measure this out, it was still a 15% move, right? Just because of the price of the ticker. So not a bad move at all. You put in $100, you made 15. I mean, it's not bad for a quick scalp. So anyway, you would have opened this chart. This came out right here, right? If you can see, or you were fast enough, you would have kind of had a resistance line like right here. So what would have really happened is we were below that resistance, and I mean, really, it could have been higher too here, right? But I'm looking at kind of all this chop through here. So anyway, you would have waited for that confirmation break to get over this line, and or you got VWAP right under you here. So you need to always pay attention to that. I mean, I don't know. I can't remember if I traded this one today or not, but that's exactly what I would have done right here in this position. Is I probably would have been waiting for it to get down here to give me a VWAP bounce because we're so close to it. And when it didn't, I would have jumped in on this break right here, just kind of on the fly and caught that ride right there. So that was VIVK. I don't think it did much else. I mean, a lot of scalping opportunities. I remember that. This was market open in here. It had a nice jump up. Wasn't bad. And then it fell off pretty hard. So, not a whole lot more on that particular one, but hey, guys, that's the way these things go sometimes. Like, all we do is scan for what has volume. Where is the volume rotation going? And we obviously pull up the chart. We see what's going on. And if we think it's worthy or it has enough volume or the indicators are right or whatever the case might be, then we send out the alert. It has potential. That's what these alerts mean. This thing has potential. Look at it and decide for yourself. And I know that can be a tall order for some of you guys. for some of you new traders. I understand that. That's the point of these videos, right? We realize that. We know that because we were there at one point, and we didn't have these kinds of videos to break it down to show us what it is we're looking for and how to use these alerts. Last thing we want you guys doing is losing money because you don't know how to trade or you don't know how to use these alerts, right? So they are not, oh, an alert, let me buy it. That's not how it works, right? So, please remember that. So let's go. Let's keep moving. Just looking for something else here. Let's see. Tons of news alerts. I don't want to go through all these. Let's see. WHYK. I remember this guy. WHWK. Sorry. WHWK. That came through warming up at the price of 319 at let me just get there. Sorry. Well, my chart's all messed up now. All right, so that came through at 8:35 in the morning, which was back here. This was a pretty good one, a beautiful looking chart, and I am on the 32nd, so let me just change this. Let's see, so WHWK was 8:35 this morning, so that was this guy here, right? So we had a spike, a little climb back up, okay, and we send it out right here. So what's the first thing you're going to do? Well, we're already pretty much as high as the high that we have because that other high was down here. So, really, you could have very quickly said, okay, let me get a line here, and I'm going to call that now support because we're already there, and we're already kind of hitting it, right? So this is kind of a unique one, but this constitutes a time where you would just kind of take a position right out of the gate because we popped up. We're over our support line. We're riding the support line, and we still got decent volume. So this is where you have to kind of use a little bit of discernment and just kind of make a decision for yourself on what you want to do. But I think I was already in this pullback down here in trying to get the alert out to you guys. But so I was already in this thing for this next pop. You guys got the alert in here somewhere. I for sure immediately would have taken a position. Let me explain that to you again, right? So when the chart opened up from, again, let me just get my correct tools here. When the chart opened up, you had nothing from this line, this vertical line I just made, right? This line here, you had nothing from, all the way over here. So you can't see anything. All you could see is this giant candle. We had a pullback and we climbed back up, and now we're sitting right here, and the alert comes out. So you open the chart, you see the same, you see this stuff here. So the reason why this one would have actually made for an alert that you could have bought immediately is because we had no other area to really pull back to. So we had already pulled back. We made that high. We pulled back in here. That was where I entered the trade. For that next leg up, which we got, and now we got above that high, so now we're on support. So if you picked up on that as you opened this chart, you would have said to yourself, all right, well, I'm going to buy my starters right here for this next leg up, which is exactly what happened. You can see how this chart played out, right? So I hope that makes sense. We typically will advise you to never just buy the alert as it comes out, right? Like that's just not what you want to do, or you're going to lose. In this particular case, you could have, but only really in this particular case. So if something about that doesn't make sense, or you're still trying to understand my reasoning there, or you want a more in-depth breakdown, let me know. I'm happy to do it. So you took your position, it came up, it pulled back, it just about got to our support line here, and it sat right there. That's perfect. You were never really in the red, and you basically, sorry, guys, my dogs are barking. You held on to your position there, and bam, we got this nice spike up to the top, right? So in doing that, let's just measure what that move was there. It was actually pretty good. So the alert came out in here somewhere. You would have taken your position there. That's a 47% move, right? So I mean, this was actually a really good alert and a really good play. This was WHWK, right? That thing ran from the alert at, let me go back here. It ran from the alert at 319 up to a high there of 460. So I hope that some of you guys caught that alert and were able to play it. The rest of the day, again, right, it falls off, gets under VWAP, has a VWAP reclaim, right? That's another video that we're getting ready to make here very shortly. Has a VWAP reclaim and a 5 EMA break happening together right here. I mean, that is an extremely bullish sign, guys. Entering this trade right here would have been the play, no question, for another quick scalp of like, 20% or something, right? You would have rode that from 310 to 374. Like, that's an awesome quick move. So you could have played that one. We had a nice drop here. This is probably market. Oh, no, it's not market open. We had a drop, and then drop again. And so the rest of the day after that, it was kind of But you had two really nice setups in there that you could have played and should have and made money on. So I really hope you guys were able to. Let's just kind of get into, I'm just going to scroll through a couple of these, see if we can get to something else. Let's go straight into the couple here in after hours, right? They were pretty awesome. KRMK was pretty good. Let's see. Let's pull that guy up. Okay. Sorry. KMRK was pretty good. So let's pull that up. And here we are here. And let's go straight to after hours. And just give me 1 second, guys. Just got to do something real quick. Give me 1 second. All right. Sorry about that. So, all right. KMRK. Look at this spike, man. This thing shot up there for sure. So that alert came through just into after hours at 4:05 p.m. right after market close and the price was $1.85. So 4:05 time frame was right here. We caught this thing at $1.85. When you open this chart, right, again, if similar to that last one we did, you really don't have much to go off of here. The only thing, when you open a chart and you get this initial spike, and then you get a little guy here and a little guy here, what you're really looking for in this next candle that opens is a retracement of this big candle. We need some kind of retracement of that to take a position. So what's an ideal retracement? Like 50%, really, like down in here somewhere. So, 30%, 40%, that'll do. This was maybe about 30% here. That will do, and in this case it did, but that's what you're looking for. So when this alert came out here, you look behind you, you're like, all right, well, we got a retracement. Here's the alert. This would have been worth a position right here, right? A little bit weird because we're like through our VWAP here, but that's just how VWAP's going to be after we come off of a huge spike like that, right? So anyway, so you took your position here and you rode up, and you were really able to get to the top of this wick, but candlestick analysis here for sure would have told you to bail on this hammer, right? See this red hammer here? That is not a good sign. So if you're coming up here and you get this guy, and you get another one, and you're hoping a little pullback and another one, but really what happens is you get another one and it spikes up, but then it ends red in an upside down hammer. That means get out, right? Cut your gain right there. Get out and find another position. So, you should have gotten out there just based on that candlestick alone. And then what happened? We dipped back down and then came back up and dipped back down and did a bunch of this dip. But the whole time, I mean, really, you were in down here at like $1.80, maybe $1.90 by the time you took a position. So we really didn't get under that $1.90 in all of this junk until we got back here, right? And back in there, you definitely would have been getting into the red. And likely cut because we were losing our vital support. So So that was KMRK. And then, yeah, later in the evening it jumped back up, but nothing really much there. But that was still a decent move, guys, right? That's how you would have played that. Similar to that other one. It's one that you could have bought pretty much right out of the gate. Let me see here. Get you a price measurement on that. I'm interested myself. All right, so that alert went out in here somewhere, and we had a jump up here, 35%. I mean, not bad when overall the market was like, at best all day, right? It wasn't the easiest market to play. So, and then of course we got ARTV, right? One of my favorites today. Played this thing all day, all afternoon long. This was the chosen one, as we like to say. So, still got a trend line on here. So, this thing, I have the chart kind of crunched down, but you can see, I'll get rid of my MACD a little bit here, but you can just see how much of a monster move it was. It spiked up out of here and just went. So this is ARTV, came through at 4:15 p.m. today. That was down here, actually, right after that second candle for this guy here. And the price was let's see, 415, 424. So that was actually all the way down here, right? So what do we got, guys? You open the chart and you got these two candles. Well, we don't really get a pullback here for you to take a position. So this can be really just kind of like a momentum chase. With the next candle opens and we actually do pull back, I took a position in here, right in this pullback, but it wasn't full size because I wasn't sure if it was just going to dump. And it shot up, and then we were like, okay, we came down, we kind of nestled into VWAP here, and we were holding VWAP up in here. I think once I got this candle here back down to VWAP, I think I scaled here thinking, hey, this thing's going to break VWAP and just crash. Well, it didn't crash. It came back down, but I was still holding some here. And then when we got this next leg up here to 625, that's when I kind of closed my position. Then we fell off. Actually, when this bar, we got this next leg up and the next one opened and dumped back down, I closed out. Again, it's all about securing the bag, right? So I was still holding here what I had left from my scaled position in hopes that we were going to get this next pop up. Well, it didn't. It came down, sat on VWAP, danced around for a little while, came back under, reclaimed VWAP, and then had another spike. But I didn't see this spike coming. So, and I didn't take this trade because of resistance, right? So let's get that line on there. So looking at this high right here, right, where I had basically scaled out, that was my resistance. So as we were coming up in here and I saw we had a VWAP reclaim and then we popped up, it's like, well, I'm not going to jump in here for like 8 cents, right? I mean, because I got resistance there. Well, it didn't actually, it broke resistance, but then it came back down. And what I noticed in here was when it came back down, it was sitting on, it came back and it set, instead of sitting on VWAP, it actually found new support, which was this guy here and this guy here, and it sat on that. So I ended up in a position here and for a break up of this high, and it comes up and it comes down and it sits here. And so I end up drawing a trend line here from this low because now I realize I have, a few points of connection, and I just let this thing ride, right? I knew we were going to reject, or at least figured. We came up to that resistance and rejected, but then back down to the trend line. And this was later in the evening. This was like 6:30 or something in the evening. And then it kind of weakened out a little, right? Somewhere in here, when we started approaching our resistance again, I finally cut that position I had because I could tell just by candlestick analysis in here, looking at the size of the candles, the wicks, the rejections, I knew that when we got back up here, it was going to be really difficult to break. And it was. I mean, we got through, we had a couple little breaks, and then bam, we came down for the retest, and then it absolutely did not hold and just fell off. So this was still a really good play, right? From the time of the alert, probably our better one all day. Let's see, 424, really close to that spot there, up to that high. That's a 60% move, guys. I mean, just awesome, right? And plenty of opportunity in there. You can see as I'm walking you through these that these are not things that I'm buying and I'm just riding for that entire 60% move. It's just I just don't trade that way, and we do not trade that way in this group. There's nothing wrong with it. I personally know a lot of traders that do trade that way. The issue with it for me is that I like to secure the bag. I like to take my smaller, quick wins, get in, get out, and find a new position. I do not like when we have these, these pullbacks, because, little pullbacks like this are fine. Where I rode this guy out in here, that's fine. That's not really hurting anything. But I can't tell you how many times I've been in a trade where we get all the way up somewhere close to resistance and bam, it just slams down. The shorts get a hold of it, and not only do I lose what I had, but I end up going red on the trade, right? So these things can knife out so fast sometimes that I like to shoot for a certain percentage on my trade. That's the other thing, is when I'm in a trade, I am only looking at the percentage gain of that trade. All I really want to see is like 2, 3, 4%. Sometimes you can get, 5, 10, 15%, fine. But that's really all I want to see. They're just kind of quick scalps in and out. That's the way that I personally trade. That's very similar to how the other analysts trade as well. It's not always, the percentages are not always that small. It just depends on how much momentum and volume, that the actual move and ticker has. So, that's it for this video, guys. I'm going to wrap this one up. Again, I and the rest of the analysts at UMB, we are here to help you guys the absolute best possible ways that we can. So we figured that making these recap videos could be super helpful, especially for the beginner trader, to start to understand how to read these charts, what tools to be using, what to be looking out for, what to do, what not to do. And that's exactly what these videos are for. So a couple things. Number one, if you are watching these videos and you're finding them helpful, please let me know. Comment in the comments of the video, comment on Facebook. Please let me know. It would mean a lot to me myself. It takes time to do these videos. I don't mind doing them at all. I actually enjoy doing them. And going back through the chart and kind of reviewing, where I took my trades, and we all can learn something from going back through charts and looking, even myself, right? So I actually enjoy doing the videos. I just would love to know if anybody's actually finding them useful, which I really hope so. And also, if you are not subscribed to the YouTube, please do subscribe to the Facebook channel. Follow us on there. We are pumping out content like crazy, guys. A lot of big announcements coming in the near future as well. We're doing all kinds of cool stuff. So we're super excited to have you guys in this group and a part of the family. And as I always close every video, if there is a particular if there's a particular alert that went out today that I did not just comment on or pull a chart up on that you want to see personally, just let me know. Get into the Facebook messages and comment under this video on YouTube. Message me personally through Facebook. That would be perfectly fine. I am really, really happy to open up any other chart and break it down for you. So with that said, guys, we will wrap this up, and let's hope that we have a good day. Remember, it's Friday tomorrow. Fridays generally have a reputation for being, slow or difficult to trade, or pump and dumps or whatever. Not the best trading days in general. But my suggestion would be not to go into the market with that mindset, but to just be aware that it is Friday, and that that can be the case. So you kind of trade smart, you take less risk, and you just kind of watch to see what is the market giving me, right? Is it a typical Friday where things are just kind of pump and dump and it's really difficult and choppy, or is there a lot of opportunity, right? Trade with what the market is giving you. So all right, guys, that's it. I'm done. I'm out of here. I hope you enjoyed the video. Yeah, let's have a great day tomorrow.